I need to talk about being ready. How so many of us feel like we just need to be ready. We need to be ready to jump into that next life. We need to be ready to make that leap. We need to be ready to put in that effort every single day. And I'm here to tell you that you'll never be ready. You'll never be ready. I don't think we ever become ready. We are never ready for the change we want in our life. We just adapt. For example, I don't think you ever get ready for jumping out of a plane for skydiving. You just adapt when you're starting to free fall. That's really it. And isn't that true for any significant change that we want to make in our lives? You won't be ready. That's the point. Your current ego is not going to be able to handle your next level up. That current ego has to die. That current self has to die. We're never ready to die. Have you noticed that? One thing I've really noticed is that you just have to start setting these higher standards for yourself and cultivate this will within yourself where you say you're going to do it and you hold your fucking word to yourself. And you do it. And it's hard and you keep doing it and it's still hard, you know. And it reminds me of individuals that run 100 marathons in a row, in one consecutive day after another. And Laird Hamilton says, he's talking about this on this podcast of Joe Rogan. And he's like, yeah, day one, it's fucked. Day two, day three, like day one, you can't do it. Day two, day three, you really can't do it. Like, you're really feeling it. Day 4 and 5, like, you're really feeling it. Soon enough, day 10 comes around and, like, your body's like, well, this is what we do. We run marathons. Your body and mind will acclimatize to the new standards that you set for yourself if you can truly cultivate that inner belief in that new identity that you set for yourself. If you know about changing yourself, it's all at the level of identity level change. But this identity level change only happens when we feed our mind enough direct experience to actually authentically believe that we are that new person. Have you noticed that you can't just believe yourself into becoming a high-performing, Wes Watson-like, Leo Giro-like individual? Someone that fucking creates results? You have to put yourself through that direct experience. And it's going to be uncomfortable. You have to identify if you want to be this high-performing athlete, you have to identify what the routines you need to put yourself through, and you just need to go through it and identify this pain is the old self leaving my body. This discomfort is the old self leaving my body. I think about foregoing vices like video games and the YouTubes. Watching YouTube, getting distracted, looking at memes. Over my life, I've had this process of doing practicing partaking in less and less of these vices such as YouTube, such as video games, because I've become more and more serious around becoming this high performer. And it sucked. It sucked. It still sucks. But I've already noticed of how much I've already acclimatized to this new set standard of not focusing for hours and hours on just dopamine hitting, entertaining content. And the times that I really want to, I have this vision of myself of where I could be. And I'm thinking to myself, what fucking vote do I want to cast? And goddamn, some of those votes weigh more than others. You know, if you really want to be that high performer, you have to let go of the need to be ready. Because that really, if you really want to dig into what that means, being ready is simply just looking for comfort. Because when we're ready, we're comfortable. That's the point. You know, there's a saying I like to say, which is called stumble stupidly. Don't worry about looking like a fool. This is vital to creating any remarkable success. If you're not willing to be a fool, what the fuck are you doing? You're not going to get anywhere. So what is it for you? What kind of insane fucking habits, if you want to be this kind of person, otherwise, if you want to be a high performer, otherwise, why the fuck are you watching my channel? Like, actually fuck off. Like, I only want to speak to people that really want to ignite that spark and that fire within them. This is who I want to talk to. Those that want to become that badass motherfucker, but not really fucking knows how yet. This is for you. What are the routines right now? Who do you admire? That's a really good benchmark. Looking at the results of those that you admire, and then breaking down those results and how you could get those results. What intentional, deliberate practice routines would you need to create for yourself? Notice this. What practice routines do you need to create? And what uncomfortable wake-up times do you need to start to wake up at? What uncomfortable bedtimes do you need to start to go to bed at? What routines and habits, exercise regimens, nutritional plans, what do you have to stop eating? What vices do you got to stop partaking in? Who do you have to stop hanging out with? All these things are pieces of change. And, you know, unless we go through a massive amount of suffering, we're not going to really be ready for these massive pieces of change. You know, this reminds me of why, like, a near-death experience can be such a blessing. Because you realize just how much, how quickly this can all just go away. And all of a sudden, the value of life goes way up. And you're like, holy fuck. Like, life is so valuable that it's not worth being a bitch about a wake-up time. It's not worth being a bitch about putting countless hours into a craft, honing your mastery. Or if you want to make that leap into being that coach, that therapist, that musician, putting yourself on stage, putting yourself online, putting yourself in public, you're not going to be ready. No one is. You just learn how to adapt. And what you can do is you can find ways to baby step yourself through. Like, for example, I did not post my first video like this of these speaking routines online. I've done hundreds before I posted my first video on this channel. And now I'm okay with posting what I speak about. I'll still, for example, if I don't, I'll be like 10 minutes into something and I won't like it and I'll delete it. And I'll do a reshoot. I'll reshoot it. There's some episodes here that you don't know that I've reshot like 3 or 4 times. Because I just didn't like it. But here I am now, right? This is my next step. And for example, being a teacher, that's someone I want to be. Like someone that can speak well, someone that can articulate their ideas well. You're never ready for that. You just slowly become it by doing the habits, creating the practice routines, becoming that individual through that deliberate practice. What are you hesitating for? Getting that training that you need. A lot of times we hesitate because it's a big investment, several grand, of your hard-earned dollars to make that investment in yourself, to get that education you need. You'll be like, I'm not really ready yet. It's like, I think you start to become more ready as you just start to pay attention more to it and you make a decision. When you really allow yourself to truly make a decision that, look, this is the goal I gotta do, and the goal demands that I do this fucking, within this week, so it fits into the plan of this month, so it fits in the plan of this quarter, and this plan of this year, and the next 3 years. Like, your goals, if you're set properly, will grow you. And they will demand a higher standard from you. And this higher standard you're not going to be ready for. The seriousness, the amount of focus you got to put in, the amount you got to dial in, the amount of hours you got to put in. You're not going to be ready. But you can acclimatize to it. And that's why you need to just make a solid decision that this is my success to get. These are my results. And I'm going to take what is mine. And you will face whatever fears you have to face because your goal demands it. What fear is holding you back right now? I think this is the beauty of a goal, actually. It's because we get so invested, so identified with the goal, that we will face whatever fear. We will overcome whatever obstacle. We will put however many hours it takes to become the individual that can create that result. So will you gift yourself the courage? Will you gift yourself the courage to jump into that new domain, that new level up, even though you're not ready yet, but with having that faith in that You will acclimatize when you throw yourself in that new, bigger ocean. You know, there's something very interesting about goldfish, where the goldfish will only grow as big as the tank. If you have a tiny ass tank, that goldfish will be very small. But if you have a huge pond for that goldfish should become freaking huge. You think that goldfish felt safe in that big open body of water? Do you think it was comfortable? No, it just acclimatized to it. Imagine you being that goldfish in that big, open, scary world of your fears and that new standard. You'll adapt. But you need to have that courage. Gift yourself that courage to take that leap. So with that, I'd like to thank you for watching. And I will see you in the next one. Oh my God. Hit the zoom feature.